everybody, Michelle McClunan here, and I'm coming to you with an update on the supermoon on the 17th of September, the first of three that we're going to have. And as we know, new moons are always a time to plant new seeds. It's a time of new beginnings. It's planting a new seed for the next lunar cycle, which is a month long. And in Virgo, this is very much about practical planting. So Virgo is the sign of, it's an earth sign. It's what we call a mutable earth sign. And it's the sign of the discerner, the one who makes order out of chaos, the one who's able to see what works, what doesn't work, what's good, what's bad, what's healthy, what's not healthy, what's true, what's not true. And so this new moon is quite gentle. It's quite earthy. It's quite feminine. But it's also got a sense of sort of common sense to it. The new moon is in a flowing trine, which means a favorable aspect to the three planets that we have trumping through Capricorn, which I've been going on about. And what that does, especially it's in a very close contact to Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of common sense. So this feels to me like a common sense new moon, as to what can we actually do? What can we practically do? What are we actually believing? What are our actions? Well, how are we taking our energy out into the world? Now that speaks into Mars retrograde, which I did a blog about, which I'll put the link below the video. You can read about that because Mars is going to be retrograde for 2 months and he's going to be in the sign of Aries for 6 months. So all the way until January. And Mars retrograde is really about pulling back and saying, okay, let's just pull back and reassess. Look at what's right, look at what's wrong, look at what's working for us, and look at what isn't. I'm going to bring another element into it. Jupiter, which is the planet of truth, abundance, expansion, higher learning, higher understanding, has just moved direct. He's been retrograde since May, and he's been retrograde with a bunch of other planets since May, and he's the first one out of that group of planets, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, that's going to start moving direct, and he's already started that process. So for me, what this is saying is the last few months has been really difficult for most of us, for many of us on many different levels. A lot of stuff has come up to the surface. There's been a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of overwhelming information. It's been difficult to weed out what's true and what's not true. There's been a lot of misunderstandings. There's going to be more of that. But this, for me, is a time to really kind of reassess, pull back, say to ourselves, what have we learned over the last 5 months? What have we learned about ourselves? What have we learned about what's true for us? Is what we used to think was true for us still true for us? Do we believe what people are telling us, what the media is telling us, or do we make our own choices? Do we make our own decisions? Do we follow our own inner guidance as opposed to guidance coming in to us? There's been a lot of fear around in the last few months, and fear tends to kind of block us. It tends to shut us down. It tends to affect our logical minds, our sense of rational thought, critical thinking. You know, what is true? What really, if I look at the situation for myself and I make my own decisions from an inner knowing, which is Jupiter, what's your inner knowing telling you? And then from that place, we can make a decision, we can make a choice. That's what Virgo is about, as to how we actually shine that light, shine our light, how we become part of the solution rather than feeding the problem. I watched a really beautiful little video the other day, which I shared on my Facebook line, I think. It was a little Indian chap, and he was, I don't know, 6 years old maybe, and he said, what are we practicing? He says, what do you practice? And Virgo is about practicing. Virgo is the master. Virgo is able to bring that element of practicing what you preach, practicing something so that it becomes a real skill or real art. And what he was saying was, what are you practicing? He says, if you're practicing criticism every day, then you're going to get very good at criticism. If you're practicing anger every day, you're going to get very good at anger. If you're practicing love or peace or joy every day, then you're going to get better at that. And this feeds into this Jupiter going direct, which is, what are we feeding? What are we practicing? Where are we putting our attention? Are we putting it on stuff that we can't do anything about and feeding into that? Or are we putting it into something which we can actually contribute for the good and be part of the light, be part of the solution? So I do believe that this is what we're experiencing here is a huge transformation. The old order's dying, and that's never pretty. It's never easy, it's never comfortable, it's never pretty. And there's still more to come. We're not through it, we're still in the tunnel. But just to know that we are guided, we are connected, there is light. And we just have to tune into that, align with it. And I think that this new moon is saying, where are you tuning into? What station are you tuning into? Are you tuning into the light? Are you tuning into the darkness? Are you tuning into the fear? Are you tuning into the love? Are you tuning into unity? Are you tuning into polarity? Because that's what's going to grow. And Jupiter is about growing and expanding. So as Jupiter moves forward, what are you growing? What are you expanding? What seeds will you plant this new moon in order to grow into something that you want to grow into? How are we all contributing to a new humanity, to a new planet? How can we contribute in a more useful way? What do we want to see? Jupiter's about seeing the future, which is a bit difficult right now. But what kind of world would we like to see? And focusing our vision there, rather, which is that Mars retrograde, which is pulling back the arrow and saying, where do I want to focus this arrow? Do I want to focus it on what I don't want? Because then that's where it's going to go. Or do I want to focus on where I do want to focus? And I feel that every day, every moment, we have the choice of where we're going to focus our energy. If we start the day with the intention of planting good seeds, with the intention of greeting the world in a positive way, that's what happens. If we start the day on the wrong side of bed and we get up and we say, feeling resistant, feeling angry, feeling frustrated, then that tends to permeate our day, like this little fella said. What are we practicing? So that's my message for today. Just focus on what you want to see in the world, what you want to experience in the world. Keep bringing yourself back to this moment, what you can do this moment, what choice you can make this moment. And those are minor macro choices, micro choices, which affect the macro. So what do you want to see in the world? Focus on that. These seeds that we're planting, they might have to do with your diet, your nutrition. Virgo is very connected with mind, body, soul connection and health and wellness. So it might be a good time for you to focus on that and say, what would I like to shift in my daily life to help me to actually be more energetic, to be healthier? What do I maybe need to clear out? So detoxing, very good time to detox, Virgo new moon. And detox mind. So what are my thoughts saying on a daily basis? Some people put little post-it notes saying, what are my thoughts doing? Because wherever your thoughts are going, that's what's going to become your reality. So just to be very cognizant of that. And it's almost like this new moon's giving us a helping hand in looking at where our thoughts are at any given moment. And then we have the choice to bring them back if they've gone heading off into horrendous kind of visions of the future, or resentments or regrets about the past, they'd be better off being here now. So it's all about choice, this one, all about discernment, all about clearing out what doesn't need to be there so that we can actually plant new seeds and have a new crop. Because this is kind of like, it does feel like a little bit of an energy shift. It is certainly not completely shifting yet, but Jupiter leading the way, turning direct, followed by Saturn at the end of the month and Pluto at the beginning of next month, that seems to be a sort of a new opening. It's almost like we're paving the way for that. It's like we're clearing the runway for that new opening. And what do we want to see in our world? Let's set our sights on that. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who have been attending our satsangs on Sundays, we've really enjoyed chatting with you, and we'll continue doing that. And John and I are launching a new Journey to Freedom course on the 1st of October. And we're really hoping that some of you can join us. We're having such an amazing time with the people that we've had on our three courses now. We're busy with our second and third one. And the second one's almost at an end, and then we'll be starting a fourth one on the 1st of October. So you're welcome to join us free for the first week, and you can get a good sense of what we're doing, how it works, whether it's for you, whether it resonates with you, and there's no commitment required. So have a look. It's at journeysofawakening.com. I'll put the link in the splurb below this, and we hope to see you there. And if you want to see how these energies are playing out in your own chart, obviously you're welcome to book a session with me. Thanks for listening. Take care and stay sane.